For weekend anglers everywhere, making the BFL All-American is a dream come true. Coming up, see how they do it. Plus the world of gentleman George Cochran and legends Larry Nixon and Rick Clunn. What a lineup on FLW Outdoors.
Yes, sir, that's what we're looking for, my friend. Ball game, baby. Yeah.
He could have one more in.
He does. We have a champion. Yeah. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Hallelujah!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FLW Outdoors. I'm Carlton Wing, along with Taylor Carr. Today, we're joining you from Hot Springs, Arkansas. And Taylor, this is one of the great events in bass fishing, the All-American.
It's the BFL All-American, and BFL stands for Bass Fishing League. And these are weekend anglers, guys who fish because they love it. But somebody's going to win this event and get a shot at the FLW Tour and win $100,000. So winning here is huge for one guy.
The anglers are inside the convention center right now, getting registered and getting ready for the week that is ahead. Getting here is a great reward. It's also a great accomplishment. There are 24 divisions in the BFL across the country. The top 30 get to advance to the regional tournament. And in those regionals, just the top 6 make it to the All-American.
We plan for it, we wait for it, we look forward to it all year long. And I know since you folks have qualified back in the fall, it's been foremost in your thoughts too. We're certainly excited about it. Want to wish everybody the best of luck this week.
This year, anglers from 23 states made the All-American, and for many, it's the trip of a lifetime. The transportation's paid for, all their meals, they're given a boat to fish in for the week, and their fishing license is paid for. They go away ambassadors for the BFL All-American.
Oh, this is unbelievable. You know, they're treating us like kings, you know. Everything's taken care of for, they're supplying us with all kinds of nice gifts from Ranger boats, and, I'm just excited to be down here,
For me, it's the epitome of my fishing. I get to fish on the weekend, so I don't get to fish the large tournaments. So this is my largest tournament.
We hear they treat you guys pretty well.
Yeah, I can't believe it. They flew me and my wife and my daughter down here. 5-star hotel and full banquet every night, and they feed me breakfast, lunch, and dinner and pay me to go out on the town. I mean, this is what you call royal treatment.
43 identical Ranger boats. It's just part of the prestige of being an All-American. And we're going to have a lot of fun on this edition of FLW Outdoors. We're going to take you out on the water with some of our competitors and find out how they're practicing for the biggest tournament of their lives. We're going to get some help from our FLW pros as well. You'll meet Ranger pro George Cochran, who lives here in Hot Springs. We'll also get some help from another Hot Springs native, GARMIN pro Rob Kilby. He'll join Taylor Carr and preview Lake Hamilton. And throughout the show, we're going to highlight some of the BFL action across the country, maybe meet some contestants for next year's All-American. It's all coming up on FLW Outdoors. Here's an update from some of the 24 BFL divisions across the country. In the second event of the Bulldog division on Clarks Hill Lake, Craig Johnson of Martinez, Georgia, won his 3rd BFL title with a 5-fish limit of 18 pounds, 6 ounces. Johnson won over $4,600 for first place. In the 3rd event of the Choo-Choo division, held on Weiss Lake in Cedar Bluff, Alabama, Wayne Boyd of Rome, Georgia, won with a 5-fish stringer of 18 pounds, 10 ounces. Wayne fished over 2.5 pounds better than second place and earned over $4,900. For more information on a BFL event near you, log on to FLWOutdoors.com.
Here's this week's Ozark Trail trivia question. How much cash did Dean Starkey of Peru, Indiana take home for winning the first ever BFL All-American on Kentucky Lake? Was it $10,000, $25,000, $50,000, or $100,000? The answer is coming up on FLW Outdoors. The Ozark Trail trivia answer, Dean Starkey took home C, $50,000 cash for the first ever BFL All-American win. Came in 1983. Hey, welcome back to FLW Outdoors. We're previewing the BFL All-American on Lake Hamilton. A man who knows this lake well is GARMIN pro Rob Kilby. And Rob, you fished here for a long time. How will these anglers be attacking this lake in the next 3 days?
Primarily, they're going to start out shallow. The guys that figure them out on the lower end will probably catch them out on the points because a lot of these fish have already spawned. The guys that they're really going to do good are going to go up lake, and they'll probably find them spawning actually on the beds.
Rob, there's just one practice day for these anglers. Many of them are not from this area. Can they figure out what to do in one day on Lake Hamilton?
Well, it's going to be pretty tough because, you know, the way this lake's set up, it's got a cold water dam above it, so you've got trout that live there year-round. And, you know, with cold water up above, and further down you go, the warmer it gets, so they spawn on the lower end, and they end up spawning up in that cold water, which is happening right now. See, it's not until about 9:30 or 10 o'clock that the angle of the sun really gets right where you can see the fish on the bed. So the trick to it is you can't wait till then to start fishing. So you have to have something to do until about 9:30 or so. And what I want to do is concentrate on points, the docks on these points, the deep points where they move off their beds and suspend underneath them. I'm going to throw 3 different lures on these docks. One is a jerk bait. It's got a little flash to it. Another would be a plastic worm. Then I've got like a floating worm I'm going to throw around it. It's really a pretty simple pattern to fish because you just fish both sides and across the end of the dock and go on to the next one. The fish I'm trying to catch is underneath the dock, and I'm trying to call them out to the edge with a lure. What I'm doing here, I'm fishing a weightless worm, and I'm hooking it in the middle. There's some big rocks that are underneath the water here. It's a good hideout spot for them. There's a lot of shade underneath there. They want something that's moving really slow and doesn't have much action to it. And this certainly fits that, especially hooking it in the middle because that slows it down even more.
The sun's getting higher, so it's time to find those bedding fish now. Rob makes a run up the lake and starts cruising around an isolated pocket that looks like prime spawning ground.
We found a nice fish here. It's on a bed. You know, this fish is probably 3.5 pounds, maybe even bigger than that. And it's the kind of spot that the BFL angler really wants to find. You know, it's a secluded little area. We're up lake. The water's a little bit cooler up here, and they're bedding just about everywhere.
Kilby starts off with a little white Senko and then switches to a watermelon-colored jighead worm. Now, sometimes it takes an hour or 2 to catch a bedding fish. Kilby does it in about 10 minutes.
I tricked her with a plastic worm. You know, you have to throw a variety of lures when you're catching them off beds like that. And, you know, sometimes you're throwing something really off the wall like, you know, a white bait or a pink bait. But sometimes you can trick them with this is basically just a watermelon worm. Go get back on your bed. As we've seen, there's a lot of nice fish on beds right now. And I really think this tournament would be won sight fishing. There's a lot of ways you can catch them. I mean, on jerk bait, top water, different things, but I really think to catch those good quality fish, it's going to come from sight fishing.
Let's put Garmin Pro Rob Kilby on the spot now. What's it going to take the first 2 days to make Saturday's final in this event?
10th place would be about 26 pounds. First place would be 32 pounds.
You'd like to be fishing this one, wouldn't you?
You betcha.
All right, Garmin Pro Rob Kilby. Carlton Wing is on the lake now, practicing with one of our anglers. When we come back, we'll hear from Carlton on FLW Outdoors.
Here's an update from some of the 24 BFL divisions across the country. Charles Kamek of New Caney, Texas won the 3rd event of the Cowboy division held on Sam Rayburn with a nice 5-fish limit weighing 21 pounds 3 ounces. First place worth over $4,200. In the 4th event of the Gator division held on Lake Okeechobee, James Medlin of West Palm Beach, Florida won the title with a 5-fish limit of 26 pounds 7 ounces. Medlin won $5,000. FLW Outdoors is brought to you by Walmart. Always low prices, always. By Fujifilm. Get the picture. By Energizer batteries and flashlights. The power to keep you going and going. And by Ozark Trail. Welcome back to FLW Outdoors and coverage of the BFL All-American. We're here on Lake Hamilton, and I've got Shane Allman of Sam Rayburn, Texas, one of the competitors. This is the practice day, Shane, and you get one practice day before the event. You got a couple of key lures that you think are going to be able to tell you something about this waterway.
I've got a couple that I'm going to stick with and at least go out and start on. Some local favorite stuff that's known to produce here. Going to try to keep it real simple, and I'm not so much worried about catching fish today as I am just kind of seeing how active the fish are, what stage they are in the spawn. I think we've got all 3 stages of the spawn, but the stuff that I'm really going to focus on, I'm going to throw a Carolina rig, fish a lot of points, just go drag and hit as many points as possible, look for fish, that post-spawn fish that have already spawned, and possibly run up the river and look for some fish that haven't pulled up to spawn yet. I may deviate a little bit and try some different things, but that's what I'm going to focus on.
Shane motors just seconds from the launch site for his first test area, a grouping of points that looks promising. Shane's technique of choice this morning is a Carolina rig.
It works as a great search tool. You know, any lake you go to anywhere in the country, points are going to hold fish. And what we're looking at here, you've got a series of points, point there, point there, point here, another point back where this other boat was. And it's just a logical place to start off with. A Carolina rig will cover a lot of water. I'm using a 1/2 ounce sinker with a lizard back probably 20 inches behind it, just dragging it on the bottom. Of course, we've had cold fronts come through. The water temperature's dropped probably 5 degrees from when I got to come up here and just ride around in pre-practice. So that may affect the fish that they've been catching. They may be a little bit deeper today. And we're just gonna hop around and see if we can't put the pieces to this puzzle together in what little time we have. 4 days of practice right here. 1 official practice and 3 tournament days of practice. If you, like I said, if you get on something strong, first day, go hit it. But you know, if it's not panning out, you can't, in a tournament like this, you can't keep yourself focused completely on one thing unless you know that it's the deal. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. This point comes out and it falls off right then. It's got a bunch of rock on it. And that's where the bite that I had hit, and obviously where his just hit them. I think it's definitely a spot that is going to hold some fish. Kind of zip through here. We definitely don't want to beat it up. Oh, see, you're supposed to shake that size off. That's not what you're supposed to be sticking out here. Now, see, you were asking me earlier about bait choices. You can see his finesse worm has got 2, and my lizard hasn't motored a fish. So we may shortly be switching over to a finesse worm.
2 big bites tells Shane it's time to try another area, not half a mile from the first spot.
This spot here, I mean, I know it's got some big fish on it. So when we pulled up, just let my co-angler know there that we're not sticking anything here. We're gonna shake off anything that bites, trying to bury the hook in the middle just to get some confidence in the spot, make sure, see if I can figure out where these fish are sitting. And here he's got 3 bites on a finesse worm, and I haven't. I had that 1 bite on a lizard that didn't hold it. So I'm switching over to something a little different. I don't want to throw the same thing he's throwing yet, since he's chunking it. Baby brush hog is a confidence bait for me on a Carolina rig. I throw it a lot. It's a little bit more subtle than a lizard. So I'm gonna chunk it out here and see if I can't get bitten. There's a good fish right here. I can get him to spit it. Come on now, come on now. There he goes. That's what we're talking about there. Good solid pull down. I make a bait change and you get a bite. You know, it's one of those things. Look, he's already back on there. Another one is. Okay, we're off at this spot.
We caught up with Shane at the end of the day, and here's his assessment on the eve of the All-American.
From what I learned, a Carolina rig out offshore, looking for little rock piles, brush piles, that kind of stuff. Looking, for me, the fish that have already spawned out, that are pulling out, starting to feed, better quality fish out there. The fish on the banks just didn't seem to be as big, and I don't think they're going to wane as much. The fish I found, luckily, obviously right around the corner from takeoff, and anytime you can keep your bait wet all day long and spend more time fishing than running, you're far better off.
That's Shane's plan for his first All-American. You'll see if his strategy worked next week on FLW Outdoors. 43 voters and 43 non-voters qualified for the 2004 All-American, and getting here is not easy. Coming up, we're going to show you some of the tough competition from one of the qualifying regionals. It's next on FLW Outdoors. Here's an update from some of the 24 BFL divisions across the country. The Hoosier Division began their 2004 season on the Ohio River near Lawrenceburg, Indiana, with Ronnie Hinesley of Sulphur Springs, Indiana, winning first place with 4 fish weighing 8 pounds 6 ounces. First prize was worth $5,000. In the first event of the Illini Division, held on Rend Lake near Benton, Illinois, Jason Thomas of Mount Vernon caught a 5-fish stringer weighing 15 pounds 11 ounces and won by 3 ounces to claim the $4,300 first place prize.
Well, as you've seen, getting to the All-American can be very difficult. Anglers first must fish well in one of the 24 divisions around the country and then make the top 6 in a regional. Ray Barga from Kentucky's been here before, and he wanted to get back. We followed Ray on Beaver Lake as he tried to requalify for the BFL All-American.
I'm Ray Barga from Gilbertsville, Kentucky, and I'm here at the Beaver Lake BFL Regional in Rogers, Arkansas, and right now I'm in 7th place with 8 pounds 2 ounces yesterday. I'm about 4 ounces out of the top 6, which we have to make the cut, needing about 7 pounds today to make the BFL All-American, and if I make it, it'll be my 8th time, so I'm anxious to get there. My partner is in 7th place as well, and he's never been there, so I'm trying to get him. His name is Ed Gold, and I'm trying to get him in too. So that's kind of the situation we're in, and we're raring to go. Well, I'm throwing today a Sammy, a topwater walking type bait, and that's what I've been catching my fish on here.
For weekend anglers everywhere, making the BFL All-American is a dream come true. Coming up, see how they do it. Plus the world of gentleman George Cochran and legends Larry Nixon and Rick Clunn. What a lineup on FLW Outdoors.
Yes, sir, that's what we're looking for, my friend. Ball game, baby. Yeah.
He could have one more in.
He does. We have a champion. Yeah. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Hallelujah!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FLW Outdoors. I'm Carlton Wing, along with Taylor Carr. Today, we're joining you from Hot Springs, Arkansas. And Taylor, this is one of the great events in bass fishing, the All-American.
It's the BFL All-American, and BFL stands for Bass Fishing League. And these are weekend anglers, guys who fish because they love it. But somebody's going to win this event and get a shot at the FLW Tour and win $100. For weekend anglers everywhere, making the BFL All-American is a dream come true. Coming up, see how they do it. Plus the world of gentleman George Cochran and legends Larry Nixon and Rick Clunn. What a lineup on FLW Outdoors.
Yes, sir, that's what we're looking for, my friend. Ball game, baby. Yeah.
He could have one more in.
He does. We have a champion. Yeah. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Hallelujah!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FLW Outdoors. I'm Carlton Wing, along with Taylor Carr. Today, we're joining you from Hot Springs, Arkansas. And Taylor, this is one of the great events in bass fishing, the All-American.
It's the BFL All-American, and BFL stands for Bass Fishing League. And these are weekend anglers, guys who fish because they love it. But somebody's going to win this event and get a shot at the FLW Tour and win $100,000. For weekend anglers everywhere, making the BFL All-American is a dream come true. Coming up, see how they do it. Plus the world of gentleman George Cochran and legends Larry Nixon and Rick Clunn. What a lineup on FLW Outdoors.
Yes, sir, that's what we're looking for, my friend. Ball game, baby. Yeah.
He could have one more in.
He does. We have a champion. Yeah, who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Hallelujah!
Hello everyone and welcome to FLW Outdoors. I'm Carlton Wing along with Taylor Carr. Today we're joining you from Hot Springs, Arkansas, and Taylor, this is one of the great events in bass fishing, the All-American.
It's the BFL All-American, and BFL stands for Bass Fishing League, and these are weekend anglers, guys who fish because they love it. But somebody's going to win this event and get a shot at the FLW Tour and win $100,000. So winning here is huge for one guy.
The anglers are inside the convention center right now, getting registered and getting ready for the week that is ahead. Getting here is a great reward. It's also a great accomplishment. There are 24 divisions in the BFL across the country. The top 30 get to advance to the regional tournament. And in those regionals, just the top 6 make it to the All-American.
We plan for it, we wait for it, we look forward to it all year long. And I know since you folks have qualified back in the fall, it's been foremost in your thoughts too. We're certainly excited about it. Want to wish everybody the best of luck this week.
This year, anglers from 23 states made the All-American, and for many, it's the trip of a lifetime. The transportation's paid for, all their meals, they're given a boat to fish in for the week, and their fishing license is paid for. They go away ambassadors for the BFL All-American.
Oh, this is unbelievable. You know, they're treating us like kings, you know. Everything's taken care of for, they're supplying us with all kinds of nice gifts from Ranger boats, and, I'm just excited to be down here,
For me, it's the epitome of my fishing. I get to fish on the weekend, so I don't get to fish the large tournaments. So this is my largest tournament.
We hear they treat you guys pretty well.
Yeah, I can't believe it. They flew me and my wife and my daughter down here. 5-star hotel and full banquet every night, and they feed me breakfast, luncheon, and dinner and pay me to go out on the town. I mean, this is what you call royal treatment.
43 identical Ranger boats. It's just part of the prestige of being an All-American. And we're going to have a lot of fun on this edition of FLW Outdoors. We're going to take you out on the water with some of our competitors and find out how they're practicing for the biggest tournament of their lives. We're going to get some help from our FLW pros as well. You'll meet Ranger Pro George Cochran, who lives here in Hot Springs. We'll also get some help from another Hot Springs native, GARMIN Pro Rob Kilby. He'll join Taylor Carr and preview Lake Hamilton. And throughout the show, we're going to highlight some of the BFL action across the country, maybe meet some contestants for next year's All-American. It's all coming up on FLW Outdoors. Here's an update from some of the 24 BFL divisions across the country. In the second event of the Bulldog Division on Clarks Hill Lake, Craig Johnson of Martinez, Georgia, won his 3rd BFL title with a 5-fish limit of 18 pounds, 6 ounces. Johnson won over $4,600 for first place.
For 20 years doing it.
George Cochran's story inspires weekend anglers everywhere. He's a former Arkansas Railroad worker who managed to win one of the sport's biggest events, not just once, but twice.
In I believe it was 84, I decided I'd start fishing some of the pro tournaments, and back then you could lay off from the railroad, drive, fish a tournament, then after a week I'd come back home, mark up on the railroad, and go back to work. But all that changed for me in 1987 when I won my first classic, and I sat down with my wife, and she's my biggest supporter, and she told me go for it. And I went for it after I won my first world championship, and I've never looked back.
Cochran went on to win the 1996 Classic and the new FLW Tour's Kentucky Lake event that same year, on his way to becoming one of the most recognizable personalities in the sport. His strength and uncanny knack for finding fish in shallow water.
When you really know there's a fish in a piece of cover, don't give up on just 1 or 2 casts. When you've been fishing as long as I have, you learn to do what you do best. You know what I mean? And what I do best is fish shallow. And so when I go to a lake, no matter where it is, I've won a couple of world championships by fishing that way. And I made a living for 20-something years, and I'm not going to change.
His usually mild-mannered demeanor brought Cochran the nickname Gentleman George. But that's just one side of his personality.
To compete on the basis that we compete in the tournament trail, I'm really not against anybody, but when the tournament starts, I'm really focused and I'll block everything out, okay? And I'm out there to win or to do good. And I just really focus on what I'm doing. Now, I got the Gentleman George attitude because they're all my friends and we have a good time even when we're not in tournaments. And I respect people on the water just like they respect me. But when that tournament starts, it's every man for himself, and I give it all I got.
You won't talk to George Cochran long without hearing about his family, the steadying influence of wife Debbie, the pride he has in his oldest son David, who dreams of following in Dad's footsteps.
I know he has what it takes. He's already proved that. Like this last year in EverStar, he finished 3rd overall. He was the top Ranger man. If he gets a few more big sponsors, I look to see him fish the FLW Tour, and I look to see him be real competitive on the tour.
Son John's a pro at a Little Rock golf course, and daughter Leslie's in graphic design school in Atlanta. Over the years, the family saw many of Dad's great moments, but not as many as George would have liked.
And now that I'm older, I look back and I really feel like I missed a lot with my family. But the good part about all this is they still love me, I hope.
We do. I mean, the best part about George isn't the fact that he has won 2 classics. To me, the best part about George is that he's been a great father and a great husband, and that means more to me. And
well, let me get you for that.
Well,
that makes me feel
sincerely.
better. I've got the greatest job in the world. I work for like 7 companies, and when I'm not fishing for a living, I'm either working for my sponsors and shows, and so I love what I do, and I still have that burning desire to compete. So I'm looking forward to this year just as much as I did the first year.
Cochran's next big honor is induction into the Pro Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. As far as retirement, well, this is fishing, and he's only 54.
I'd like to say I can go to I'm 60, you know, but as long as I feel good and physically in good shape, and I have that burning desire, which I still do, I want to compete as long as I can.
From one world champion to another, this is 4-time Classic winner Rick Clunn.
There's supposed to be a big one living right here in front of me.
Clunn's fishing in the final round of the FLW event on Old Hickory Lake. It's day 3 and he's doing what he does best, working a crankbait. Our Larry Nixon is watching from a nearby boat, waiting to interview Clunn in a rare legend-to-legend conversation you'll hear only on FLW Outdoors.
Good fish too, real good fish.
Thank you.
Not a big one, but a darn good keeper. Good way to start the morning. Way to go, Rick. You're gonna back that boat up in case there's 2 there, you know. There's always a way. Sometimes you catch one that excites another fish and you can throw right back in the same area and catch another one.
There's a little high spot right here at the end of the bluff right there, and I caught my biggest fish the first day, about a 5'11" off from it.
Right now I'm out here with Rick Clunn, and he just caught a nice little keeper to start the day. And Rick, I want you just to visit with us just a little bit on the type of water that you're fishing here and how you're fishing it.
Well, Larry, of course, you're very familiar. We're fishing a bluff end here. We've got a channel swing right here, and we're on the tip of that swing. And usually somewhere on the tip of it, there's little flat tables. I have a lot of confidence on this pattern, especially on a day like a bluebird day like today. The only thing is a little bit, is my water's clearing a little bit every day. I usually catch my fish further back in the creek, but it's too clear for me right now with these bright skies. So I'm having to move out a little bit every day to stay in the right color water.
So basically what Rick's doing, he's fishing little small points that stick out along this, what I call the old channel bank, and it's got rock and rubble under the water. He's taking a wiggle wart and paralleling and bouncing and banging on them rocks and catching these what I call pre-spawn fish that are just starting to move up. You know, if you really watch Rick, I mean, to really learn to be a good crankbait fisherman, this guy here is probably one of the very best because of the way he positions the boat on everything. I mean, he knows where all them little points are, and when he's not, he stays in real close because it's real important that you bounce that bait off stuff that's on the bottom because that ricocheting effect is what gets a lot of strikes. Am I seeing a great big hook on the back of that crankbait?
Yeah, number 2.
Number 2? He's got an oversized hook on the back of his wiggle wart. And, you know, a lot of times when a fish slap at a crankbait, you don't have a big enough hook on there, and Rick's always been good at making a lure work with a hook that is what I'd call too big. I mean, it looks like a gaff back there.
The first day, I caught all my fish off this type of water, working the crankbait, just trying to keep it down in the rocks and stuff. But it was a day like today, it was sunny. And then those fish tend to move up on those little feeding shelves a little bit better. Yesterday, it got cloudy, and I didn't have a bite off this stuff up to 1 o'clock, and I had to switch to a 3/4 ounce spinnerbait.
Yeah, he's going to switch to a spinnerbait and fish that big log. He caught some of his better fish yesterday on the spinnerbait. A good fisherman always have other lures for different targets. I mean, some baits you can't throw around with a crankbait without getting hung up, so you switch to a bait that you can maneuver through that cover. This little section here probably got too vertical for his crankbait, and that's why he's picking up a jig. Anytime your water gets real vertical, it's hard to keep a crankbait in position like that, so you'll alternate to a jig to fish that vertical stuff. Crankbait works better when you got the stuff running out under the water.
Earlier, we showed you some qualifying for the All-American from Beaver Lake in northwest Arkansas. Up next, we're going to take you back out to Beaver Lake with one of the pros who knows it best, Castrol pro Bobby Curtis, with an exciting topwater technique that's guaranteed to get your heart pumping. It's next on FLW Outdoors.
Look at that. Load of fish.
There you go. Here's an update from some of the 24 BFL divisions across the country. In the second event of the Ozark Division, held on Lake of the Ozarks near Osage Beach, Missouri, Mike Foree of Beaufort, Missouri, caught a 5-fish limit, just over 17 pounds, worth over $4,700 in first prize money. For more information on a BFL event near you, log on to FLWOutdoors.com. Welcome back to FLW Outdoors. I'm Carlton Wing with Castrol Pro Bobby Curtis. We've got a topwater technique that is guaranteed to get your heart pumping. Tell us about the front runner.
Well, the front runner is a little shad imitation bait, and you tie it onto your main line, and behind that you tie about a 12 or 18 inch leader, and on that you tie a Berkeley popper. And what it does is it gives the fish a look as something's chasing this little bait fish. So you got this little front runner with the popper behind it, and you work it real erratic. So it really makes them look like there's a feeding frenzy going on the surface, and they just can't handle it. They just got to get up there and join in, and you'll actually catch fish 2 and 3 at a time with this.
So if you want to catch a 5-fish limit on fewer than 5 casts, this might be a great technique for you, and you've had that happen before.
I have. I fished a tournament about 4 or 5 years ago on my hometown lake, and I made 2 casts and had 5-fish limit.
3 on one and 2 on the other.
That's right.
Let's take it out on the water and see how we do today. Just moments later, before our cameras even got rolling, this is the result of my first cast of the morning. 2 fish, 1 cast, just like Bobby said. Mr. Curtis had a very enthusiastic convert to the front runner. I tell you, Bobby, I am already converted to the front runner technology.
I've never, honestly, since I've been fishing professional, I've never heard anybody talk about fishing with a front runner. And I don't mention it just because I don't have very many. And if I mention it, somebody's going to want one, and I have to give them away, and I might not get them back. You know?
I mean, I want one. I'm converted.
You know, now I'm willing to sell them.
Okay.
They get more expensive the further the show goes on. You know, the more fish you catch, you know, the more expensive they get.
Well, I'll tell you what, after that first cast, I'll pay top dollar now.
In this clear water, I really like to work the top water fast. You know, I want them to come up. I don't want them to get a look at it. I want them to come up. I want them to bust it quick. And I'll just start a frenzy. When the fish does hit your topwater bait, you really got to wait to feel them. Because these fish, especially when this pattern gets good, you may have 30, 40 fish at a time come up and busted. And it'll just be nuts. They'll just be all over your bait. They'll be jumping over the top of it and around it and swimming. And if you don't wait till you feel that fish pull, you're going to miss a bunch of them.
Yep.
And after a little bit of doing that, you'll spook them, and you're not going to catch them at all. I like to wait till I feel them, pull it down, get them in here as quick as possible so that I don't spook the whole school.
Oh, you got 2 of them. You got 2.
Come on, baby, stay on there. Oh, yeah. One little guy, one better one. Oh, see, hey, look there. Look, there's some more behind him. There's like 2 or 3 right behind him.
Oh, my goodness. Look at that.
A load of fish. What is that, about 4 pounds? I really don't believe that as far as, you know, the line size on working the topwater, especially the way we're working them, we're working as fast as we are, that line size makes any difference. The only difference it would make, it would be on how your topwater acts. But still with these poppers, you know, we're not worried about side to side. We're just, you know, there's just really no pattern to it. You just want to get it back here pretty much as fast as you can, and make an erratic presentation. so that these fish, I mean, that's all they're doing. They're just, I mean, they're going at it because something's chasing that little front runner.
Yeah.
And they're not going to let something else beat them. This is just a little evidence of what the bass are feeding on right now. And this is a little threadfin shad. And that's one reason when you see something like this, when you catch a fish, you'll spit some of these shad up on your carpet. You can look at them. You can kind of size your baits up to the size of bait that they're feeding on. And when you catch a fish, look down in the fish's throat. If they're feeding on crawdads, a lot of times you'll see their crawdads. The crawdad will be in their throat, and you can actually see the color. They may be a brown, and I've seen them even have like a bluish turquoise look, or some of them will be orange. And look and see what that crawdad, what the colors of the crawdad, and the size of crawdads that they're feeding on. These fish get so conditioned to being fished for all the time that I think that little bitty things, little subtle changes that you can make on your baits, the size, making sure that you match the size of the forage and the colors of the crawdads or the shad that they're feeding on, and it's going to improve your chances on catching fish for sure.
There you have it, topwater action ×2. Remember Bobby's tips, work it fast and don't disturb the school. And when Mother Nature offers a tip, take note and adjust your lures accordingly. I tell you, there's nothing more fun than catching a bass on a topwater, and if you can catch more than one at a time, it's pretty incredible. Those front runners can be hard to find, however, so if you're lucky enough to locate a few, you might want to buy some extra.
All season long, BF Goodrich Pro Scott Martin's given us a hand on some of the basics of fishing. This week, kids in fishing. And he says you can keep them interested while you teach them to fish.
Hi, I'm Scott Martin. You know, kids love to fish. And coming up, I'm going to show you how to get them started.
Here's an update from some of the 24 BFL divisions across the country. The first event of the Shenandoah Division was held on Smith Mountain Lake near Monetta, Virginia. Brian Boylatis of Oliphant, Pennsylvania took first place with a 5-fish limit of 16 pounds, 3 ounces, worth over $5,000. The Seminole Division gives us an opportunity to say Apalachicola, and that's the name of the lake for the third event in the Seminole Division held near White City, Florida. Kyle O'Lean of Fort Walton Beach won in just the third BFL event he's ever fished. FLW Outdoors is brought to you by Tyson Foods. It's what your family deserves. By U.S. Bank.
The nation's best weekend anglers are in Hot Springs, Arkansas for the prestigious BFL All-American. Top prize, $100,000. Plus a shot at the big time. The Walmart FLW Tour. A Star is Born, next on FLW Outdoors.
Yes, sir. That's what we're looking for, my friend. Ball game, baby. Yeah.
He could have one more in here.
We have a champion. Yeah. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Hallelujah!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FLW Outdoors. I'm Carlton Wing, along with Charlie Evans, and today we are bringing you the 2004 BFL All-American. And Charlie, this is one of the special events in bass fishing.
Carlton, this is the only place in America where a guy can fish one-day low-entry fee events and end up fishing for $100,000 on national television. This is the only place that it happens.
And I tell you what, for these guys to get here is quite an accomplishment. 34,000 anglers entered BFL events this year. We only brought 43 here. Just to be here was a great thrill.
24 divisions across the country. Each division has 5 tournaments in it. They must make the top 30 in their division to advance on to a regional championship. In the regional championship, only the top 6 from those 4 divisions that qualified for there make it to the All-American. This is indeed the toughest trail in America.
And the toughest trail continues because we are down to a top 10, and those finalists are on the water right now. We'll talk to some of them a little bit later on in the show, find out how they're doing on one of the biggest tournament days of their lives. And launch, Charlie, this morning was sunny and full of opportunity.
We've had great weather all week long here in Hot Springs. A little breezy this morning, a lot of anticipation. Somebody is going to really enjoy this afternoon.
This is a lifelong dream to be here, you kidding me? And just to be in the position I'm in right now, to have the opportunity to win $100,000 going into the last day is just, you know, I can't think any words to explain it, you know? I've been fishing deep all week. I came out here pretty much expecting fish to be shallow, but started catching a few on the Carolina rig deep. That's all I've thrown all week, pretty much.
The wind's going to blow today. There's going to be a bunch of boat traffic. If we don't catch them doing that, we may go fish shallow a little bit, but we're going to throw a Carolina rig most of the day and try to catch a few fish deep.
I got some big ones that are on beds that I haven't been able to catch. A 5.5 pounder I've broke off twice and got it to bite once yesterday. 3 times I missed it. So that's the fish I really need to catch to have any kind of chance at winning. I need about at least 13, 14 pounds to even have a prayer.
We began with a full field of 43 boaters coming from all over the nation to compete in the All-American. Making that cut to get to the top 10 was tough. Let's see how days 1 and 2 unfolded here at Lake Hamilton.
For weekend anglers everywhere, simply making the All-American is a dream come true. Just ask first-timers like Donald Hinson of South Carolina.
It means everything to me, maybe a chance of going on doing it for a living.
Or Kevin Short of Arkansas.
This is something that everybody that's ever fished one of these tournaments aspires to make. It is such a cool deal.
For retired school teacher David Wright, it's his 8th All-American, and it hasn't gone to his head.
Seems pretty difficult to make an All-American. I guess I can say I just tried a lot of times.
The real reason Wright keeps coming back is that he can flat out fish. His specialty is the crankbait. In less than an hour into the day, he has his first keeper. Wright is on his way to 4th place at the end of day 1. Not too far behind is Texan Shane ALLMAN, Carolina rigging a baby brush hog, good enough for 12th after the first day. Tennessee's Adam Wagner finds fish with a tube and will end the day in 23rd. Wes Endicott is casting his jig into shallow water and enjoying a good start. By 9:20, Endicott has his 5th fish, on his way to 9 pounds 6 ounces and 10th place.
I'm just crawling the jig along, just giving it short hops, and it's a little 13.5-inch fish, but it went in the well.
At the All-American, every angler walks under the bright lights on the big stage. They all talk to Charlie Evans. Everyone is a TV star, at least for a moment. Fishing is good on the first day at Lake Hamilton. 25 boaters catch limits, and 4 co-anglers have 5 fish. Scott Boatwright of Arkansas has 10-6, and he leads on the co-angler side. And Shane Burlow of Virginia posts a 12-1 to lead the boaters. He does it flipping a pig and jig way back under boat docks.
I feel pretty good. I left a bunch of stuff alone today that I can, fresh water I can fish tomorrow. So hopefully I'll get some good bites on that stuff tomorrow, and we'll go from there.
Getting to the All-American is one of the toughest tasks in bass fishing. Over 30,000 anglers enter BFL events each year, each hoping to qualify for the All-American. Just 43 did so this year. And once they get here, the competition doesn't lighten up. This is the morning of day 2 now, and by day's end, our field of 43 will be cut down to a top 10, and the pressure is on. But don't mention pressure to the competitors who are doing their level best to avoid thinking about it.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to. It's just like I said. I'm just going to try to avoid the pressure and just go fishing and have fun.
I ain't got no pressure. I slept good last night. After you get older, I think sometimes pressure might not be as much of a factor. They either bite your hook or they don't bite your hook, and some things you control, some things you can't.
Try as you may to run from it. When a national championship and $100,000 are on the line, pressure will come and find you, especially when the early bite shuts down like it did on day 2. Anglers raced across the lake looking for a bite. In the morning, the anglers tried everything: spinnerbaits, jerkbaits, flipping, and even the dreaded Carolina rig. The morning wore on, and when you're not catching fish, you can feel a little alone. Fortunately, the bite picked up as the day progressed, and quality fish began to fill up live wells, like this one for Dave LeFebre, who found his way into the top 10. The weigh-in provided the final pressure of the day as the leaderboard shifted to reveal the 10 who survived to fish for the big money. Headlining the list of finalists is Mark Schaefer, whose 24 pounds, 14 ounces leads. But just under 7 pounds separates first from 10th place. setting the stage for a thrilling final round.
I'm just so psyched. This is just awesome just to be talking with you guys and being here, and I just hope I get to talk to you every tournament I fish.
Friday's action also included a co-angler champion. Scott Boatwright of Sheridan, Arkansas won $50,000 fishing out of the back of the boat. Charlie, one of the great things about this tournament is the anglers have had an opportunity to use a variety of techniques to see success here on Lake Hamilton. They can truly use the whole tackle box.
Absolutely. Here on Lake Hamilton, with the water warming up here in the early spring, things have changed literally hourly during this event. A lot of techniques have been working. We've had some sight fishing going on out there. We've also had some spinnerbait fishing up in shallow water. We've had some Carolina rigging down on the points. A lot of techniques, and all of those involved in the top 10 anglers.
All righty. Well, one of our top 10 anglers is out on the water right now, going to give us a sneak peek of what is to come. Taylor Carr is with him.
This is your leader, Mark Schaefer from Williamstown, New Jersey. He started the day with 24-14, and he already has one fish in the boat. He's fishing finesse style near Long Island. He's caught all his fish here all week, and he's off to a great start. He is a backhoe operator, been doing that for 30 years. If he wins this event, he wins $100,000, and he qualifies for the FLW Tour. He says he'd jump at the chance. Coming up later in the show, we talk with leader Mark Schaefer.
Well, thank you, Taylor. Our stage behind us is empty right now, but it won't be for long. Later on in the show, our 10 finalists will take that stage, each hoping to hold up that $100,000 check. But first, we're going to go out onto the water and check with our finalists as they fish.
And see what's happening out there, because it truly is a tight race. It will be literally ounces to determine our $100,000 winner.
All right, the shootout awaits. We've got a lot to look forward to on this edition of FLW Outdoors. Welcome back to FLW Outdoors and coverage of the 2004 BFL All-American. We began the season with 34,000 anglers fishing BFL events. Just 10 remain now in the quest for the All-American Championship. Our finalists are on the water right now. Let's go ahead and meet our 10 finalists. First angler from Joplin, Missouri is Wes Endicott, who fished real well at Beaver Lake in northwest Arkansas. He likes these Arkansas lakes. Next up, another Missouri angler, Dennis Burhorst, who won that regional at Beaver Lake. He's currently in 9th place. In 8th place, from Beaver Creek, Ohio, Miles Johnson. In 7th place, from Antioch, Tennessee, David GNEWIKOW. In 6th place, from Lugoff, South Carolina, Donald Hinson. In 5th place, from Leeds, Alabama, Charles Cummings. Dave LeFebre is in 4th place, and you've heard his name before on this program. He won an FLW Tour event earlier this year. He has won at every level, the BFL, the EverStart, and the FLW Tour. In 3rd place, just 3 pounds and 7 ounces off the lead, is Alan Hayes. He is well within striking distance of the top. John DeVere's in 2nd place. He comes from Berea, Kentucky. He's been in 6 regionals before he finally qualified for the All-American. And the leader heading into today's championship day, 24 pounds and 14 ounces. He has lit up the field. He's from Williamstown, New Jersey, Mark Schaefer. All right, Charlie, we're going to head out onto the water right now. Wes Endicott has had a good morning. He's an 8-year veteran of the BFL, and he's turning it on when it counts right now. And this is his first All-American final. Wes, you got a good stringer in your live well, and you're already culling. That has to make you feel good.
Yeah, I feel real good. I'm real happy with the way the morning's gone. I just recently caught a 3.5 pounder and culled one that wasn't quite a pound, so I've got about a little over 9 pounds right now.
That's a great place to start at, Wes, but you're still coming from 10th place. You're about 6 pounds behind. To win this $100,000, you need some more of those 3-pounders.
Yes, I do. I just got to keep this jig in the water, and I think good things will happen.
Wes, have the fishing conditions changed a little bit here on day 3, and how so to affect your fishing?
Actually, I think it's improved. My fish seem to be biting better shallow. I had been catching them, in 5 to 8 foot of water around the boathouses, and every fish today's been 1 to 3 foot. So they've moved up in this cloud cover. They are on structure. They're on some sort of shade, wood, anything you can find to throw at. There's a fish around it.
Wes, you've fished successfully all 3 days now, but I know yesterday afternoon at the weigh-in, being right there on the cut in 10th place had to be a little nerve-wracking.
Oh, I was sweating bullets. I've never experienced anything quite like that. The nerves were, they were really going.
All right, that's Wes Endicott, currently in 10th place. He's just over 6 pounds off the lead, and he's off to a good start. That's good for a guy in 10th place.
So he's got over 9 pounds in the live well right now, already caught a 3.5 pounder, and that's the key for these guys that are coming from behind to catch some quality fish. Sound like he's got a great start on it.
All right, well, one of the other anglers who is off to a great start, he entered the day in 3rd place. 3 pounds, 7 ounces off the lead is Alan Hayes, and he's with Taylor Carr right now.
This is Alan Hayes from Moody, Alabama, starting the day in 3rd place, 3 pounds, 6 ounces off the lead. He has 1 fish in the boat. He's throwing a spinnerbait. And Alan, you've had a good start today. What's been working for you?
Actually, Taylor, I've only caught 1, and it was on a spinnerbait, just like I'd caught them yesterday. The fish didn't seem to have moved in at around the same time that they did yesterday. Mainly the spinnerbait that I've caught all my fish on is an X-wire spinnerbait from Davis Industries in Sylacauga, Alabama. He makes a lot of baits that are unique, really, to me, with the small head that gives a smaller presentation than a lot of other spinnerbaits do, and that seems to help in clear water, I think.
You're fishing for $100,000. That sounds like the big time, Alan.
Yeah, Taylor, I wished you wouldn't remind me of that. It gets you real nervous, or it does me. I've never fished for that kind of money and never had the opportunity to fish for that kind of money. The BFL offers that. I mean, I'm a common weekend tournament fisherman that has had the opportunity to come fish, and I appreciate the opportunity that the BFL offers.
Alan, good luck the rest of the day. You catch him, all right?
Okay, thank you.
That's Alan Hayes from Moody, Alabama, 3 pounds, 6 ounces away from $100,000. Glad to be here, and he's having a great time.
All right, thank you, Taylor. We've just gotten word Donald Hinson is on fish. He's already culling. Donald is on the phone right now, and Donald, tell me, that has to be a thrill to be culling at this stage in the morning.
I feel pretty good. I mean, I don't know if it's quite enough weight to run those guys down, but hope I get enough to make a good showing anyway.
You've got the limit now. You're culling now. You really need to win this event. You need some big fish. Are you going to keep doing the same thing you're doing, or try to change techniques to get a really big fish?
I don't know. I've been getting a couple, really good bites today. I've had 2 fish pushing 3 pounds each day of the tournament so far, and I think I'm gonna go back to around the areas where I caught those and keep flipping and see if I can get lucky and get 4 of them this time.
Don, how'd you sleep last night?
Hold on a minute, I got a fish on now.
Oh, all right.
Just flipped him in the boat. I really don't think this fish is gonna help me a whole lot. Little old spot. And no, he's definitely not gonna help me. Now I'm getting attacked by a dog.
We're glad we brought you a little bit of luck there, Donald.
Well, y'all can keep talking to me the rest of the day if I'm gonna catch fish now.
Tell us how you caught that fish, Don.
I'm flipping a Zoom brush hog, a baby brush hog in a watermelon candy color, and been catching a few fish on it, every day, and I've got 2 keepers on it this morning I've got in the box.
All right, well, that's Donald Hinson from LUGOFF, South Carolina. Donald on fish. Even as we spoke to him, he caught his 7th keeper. And Charlie, we're starting to see a pattern here. A lot of our finalists catching fish early in the day, looking forward to a thrilling shootout. Well, we've got more to look forward to on FLW Outdoors. Coming up next, our leader, Mark Schaefer, on the water with Taylor Carr.
Yeah, fishing with the trick worm, just a weightless trick worm. Most of all the bigger fish in this tournament past 2 days, all my fish have come on that trick worm.
FLW Outdoors is brought to you by Walmart. Always low prices, always. By Everstart Batteries, more power for your money. By Ozark Trail. And by Field & Stream, the soul of the American outdoor. Welcome back to FLW Outdoors and coverage of the 2004 BFL All-American. Our 10 finalists are on the water right now. We've got a leader and 9 challengers. One of our challengers has achieved success on every level of fishing.
Dave LeFebvre from Erie, Pennsylvania, worked his way up. BFL, Everstart, FLW, the Kellogg's Pro still wants this title.
All righty, he joins us now on the water. Dave has not had the kind of success that he wants to, but Dave, you say prime time is still yet to come.
No, I'm struggling a little bit this morning. I have been every morning, so it's really nothing that's scaring me too bad. I got 4 fish right now, probably just around 5.5, 6 pounds. And, you know, I've got 4 fish smaller than anything I've weighed in all week, so I'm not feeling too good yet. But my best time's coming. It's frustrating. I'm 5 feet away from about a 3.5 pounder, and I'm sitting here trying to get it to bite, and it won't lock down. It's frustrating right now, but I'm gonna do pretty good, I think. I got a good feeling.
Charlie, that's Dave LeFebvre. Obviously, he has seen a lot of success on all levels of fishing, and here he is in another top 10. He was in the top 10 at the All-American 2 years ago. He wants the title.
He wants this title. Our Kellogg's Pro, Dave LeFebvre. I mean, he is the perfect example of how you work your way up this sport from the BFL to the EverStart, the FLW, now Kellogg's Pro. But again, he still wants to win this event, and he's that close.
All righty, he's in 4th place. He is one of 9 challengers who are chasing our leader, Mark Schaefer. Mark Schaefer is on the water right now trying to protect that lead, and he's with Taylor Carr.
Our leader, Mark Schaefer, Williamstown, New Jersey, in this little pocket right here. He just had one on, and Mark, you've already got one in the boat, and you're doing some finesse fishing this morning.
Yeah, fishing with the, you know, a trick worm, just a weightless trick worm. Most of all the bigger fish in this tournament past 2 days, all my fish have come on that trick worm.
You're a backhoe operator, and you're fishing for $100,000 today. That's pretty impressive.
Oh, it's a dream come true. I've been working, since I was 13 years old, you know. Almost 30 years in the business. There's one, there's a peanut.
Not quite gonna make the show, Mark.
No, you catch a lot of these little ones, but like I said, this area, for some reason, you're catching tiny ones and big ones right in the same spot. So I haven't figured out the exact, location of the big ones, other than they're just on these docks. Just typical dock fishing. I fish it up home all the time, is docks, and all I know, you just keep chucking and whining and come back.
Show us that worm real quick. It's rigged wacky style. Is that a 6-inch worm?
Yeah, it's a 6-inch finesse worm, trick worm. I'm using that, and I'm also I got a man's finesse worm that I'm using, 6-inch, and it's just, a 6-inch straight tail worm. Just using a 1/0 wide gap owner hook straight shank, which I feel you get solid hookups all the time using the straight shank worm. It also gives you enough weight to, instead of going with like a little tiny octopus hook or something, that, when you hook it in the middle, it just kind of sinks the worm straight down. When it sinks it straight down, it pulls it like this, and it kind of flutters, and then that's when I jiggle and stuff. When you jiggle, it goes, just makes that little move, and they're just sucking it right up.
Mark, you've had a good start. Have fun the rest of the day. We'll see you on stage.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, your leader, Mark Schaefer, started the day with 24-14, already 1 fish in the boat.
Thanks, Taylor. Of course, Mark Schaefer entered championship day with the lead, but as we have seen, a lot of his challengers are already catching fish.
Catching fish and culling. It's going to be really tight this afternoon. Nerves are going to be tightened up. It's going to be a great afternoon.
All right, well, Lake Hamilton offered her challenges all week long. The 10 finalists who reciprocated will be on the stage when we come back on FLW Outdoors. The exciting shootout style weigh-in is next. Somebody wins $100,000.
I didn't find enough fish to last for 3 days. I'm happy with what I found. I'm really happy that I got to fish today and make a cut and just be out here with just 10 guys fishing for $100,000.
They weren't there, and I got a little panicky about noon today, and went dock fishing, caught a couple, and still tried to catch some bigger fish later on, and just didn't happen for me. I'm anxious to see how the other guys fared today. I bet they whacked them. I mean, this wind, that's the best thing that could happen for most of these guys and the worst thing that could happen for me, so.
Arkansas, here are your 10 finalists for the 2004 All-Americans. From Joplin, Missouri, Wes Endicott. From Holt Summit, Missouri, Dennis Burhorst. From Beaver Creek, Ohio, Miles Johnson. From Antioch, Tennessee, David GNEWIKOW.
From LUGOFF, South Carolina, Donald Hinson. From Leeds, Alabama, Charles Cummings. From Erie, Pennsylvania, Dave LeFebre. Our next finalist qualified through the Choo-Choo division and the Clark Hill Regional. He turned in the third best stringer of the tournament yesterday to qualify for his first All-American Top 10. In third place, 3 pounds, 7 ounces off the lead from Moody, Alabama, Alan Hayes. Our next finalist is in his 10th season in the BFL. He qualified through the Mountain Division and the Clark Hill Regional. 12-10 got him here today in his first All-American. In second place, 2 pounds, 6 ounces off the lead from Berea, Kentucky, John DeVere. Our final finalist is the only angler to catch double-digit stringers both days of the qualifying round. Currently your leader with 24 pounds, 14 ounces from Williamstown, New Jersey, Mark Schaefer. Ladies and gentlemen, here are your 10 finalists for the 2004 All-American. When we come back on FLW Outdoors, we will work through our field of finalists as the exciting shootout style weigh-in begins next on FLW Outdoors.
FLW Outdoors is brought to you by Lay's, bet you can't eat just one. By Fujifilm, get the picture. By Oh Boy Oberto Beef Jerky, taste what's real, it better be Oberto. And by Kellogg's, the best you each morning.
Welcome back, everyone, to Hot Springs, Arkansas. We're at the Summit Arena for the BFL All-American, a purse of $345,000 and a winner's share of $100,000. The weigh-in has started, and already 4 anglers have weighed out. Our leader is Wes Endicott of Joplin, Missouri. He's weighed 4 fish and stands in first place with 9 pounds. Recapping the anglers who've weighed out now, Dennis Burhorst, also from Missouri, had a limit of 5 fish that went 8-9, but he couldn't take the lead. Then it was Miles Johnson of Beaver Creek, Ohio. 3 fish that went 4-15, but not enough to stay in contention. And then David GNEWIKOW of Antioch, Tennessee. He also had 4, and he also failed to take the lead. The final angler knocked out, Donald Hinson of Lugoff, South Carolina. He had a limit, but it went just 6-13, not enough to stay alive. On the 7-Up leaderboard, it's Wes Endicott, a 3-day total of 27-1, followed by 2 anglers who've weighed out, Dennis Burhorst and Donald Hinson. Day 2 leader Mark Schaefer still in contention now in 4th place. Miles Johnson is in 5th. In 6th place, John DeVere at 22-9, followed by David GNEWIKOW, who's already gone. Anglers 8, 9, and 10 are still alive. Alan Hayes, Dave LeFebre, and Charles Cummings. Back on stage now to Carlton Wing.
All right, our next challenger is Charles Cummings. He will come to the scales, needing to bring up 6 pounds and 11 ounces. That's the mark it will take to be able to retake the lead and stay in the game.
Charles is looking for 6 pounds, 11 ounces there. Is fish number 1. Here comes number 2. Three, we're going to need to pick up in size to get that 6'11". Again, the limit is 5. Here comes number 4, and we're not to 6'11" yet. And here comes fish number 5. Another solid tournament limit. Let's see if it's enough. 5 fish here. They're all alive, but not quite enough. 6 pounds, 4 ounces. We've got you on video out there. Let's check the monitor here and see what's going on.
Right there, I'm sight fishing now. That's the best fish I had of the day, and I'm sight fishing, looking at that fish when I caught him.
What'd you catch it on? Caught
that on a Davis jig. The only thing I was doing was sight fishing up the river, and I wasn't on them downriver, and that's all I had was my sight fishing. But you know, the Lord works in mysterious ways, and He's blessed me. I'm happy.
Well, I'm happy for you too. Let's give him a great round of applause. Good job, Charles.
All right, we are halfway through our field of finalists. 5 are out, 5 remain. Dave LeFebre is coming up next. Our Kellogg's Pro needs to bring up 6 pounds and 5 ounces. Wes is still sitting over there with that lead.
A Kellogg's Pro, already a winner along the Walmart FLW Tour this year. $100,000 at Old Hickory Lake. Trying to qualify for both the All-American and the FLW Tour Championship in the same year. All right, there's 3 good fish. Let's check the weight. Again, we're looking for 6'5". We're going to need 1 more. Here comes fish number 4 for Dave. That'll do it. 4 fish of his 5 bass limit. These 4 weigh in at 7 pounds, 8 ounces, a new leader.
All right, 7.5 pounds takes him out to the top of the hill. 28 pounds, 4 ounces. That's the new mark to beat. Alan Hayes is coming up next. Alan needs to bring up 6 pounds and 12 ounces to take the lead.
6'12", Alan needs. Good solid start there. Again, all of our anglers taking great care of their fish all week long. We've had tremendous live release rate through this year. FLW Outdoors maintain a 99.7% live release rate throughout the year. There's fish number 3 again. We're looking for 6. There's number 4. That will do it, I believe. 4 fish here. The weight, 6 pounds, 15 ounces, a new leader.
Okay. Allen is on top of the hill now. The new mark, 28.7. That is our leading weight. Alan Hayes on top. John DeVere is coming up next. John needs to bring up 5 pounds and 14 ounces to be able to take the lead, and he's looking pessimistic, Charlie.
5:14 for John DeVere, again from Berea, Kentucky. John famous for casting a jig. Very effective. 6 times he's qualified for the top 30 to go to the regional. This is his first time into the All-American. And in his first time making the top 10, that could do it right there. Let's check these 3 here. Again, we are looking for 5:14. We need 1 more. So reaching forward to number 4, and that will do it. 4 fish for John DeVere. Total weight here, 7 pounds, 14 ounces, a new leader.
He exceeded it by 2 pounds. All right. John DeVere is our new leader. 30 pounds, 7 ounces is the new mark to beat. We'll go to our leader heading into today. Here's Mark Schaefer. He now trails by 5 pounds and 9 ounces.
5'9" to take the lead. Here comes fish number 1. Number 2. I have to pick it up in size for him today. Here comes, shaking his head a little bit about the size. Here comes number 3. Again, we're looking for 5'9". Here comes number 4, and our leader going today is going to need his entire limit to try to take the lead. And there is fish number 5. He's got the 5 bass limit, but his smallest so far this week. He will take the lead. 5 fish that weigh 5 pounds, 14 ounces, a new leader, but he is out of fish.
All right, Mark will take his seat back in the boat as our leader. He has raised the mark to beat to 30 pounds, 12 ounces. We'll go all the way back around the horn and visit our buddy Wes Endicott one more time. He's weighed in 4 fish. His 5th and final fish must be at least 3 pounds, 12 ounces.
312 to put him in the lead, or he will be eliminated. Not going to do it, but he has the tournament limit. His 5th fish weighs in at 1 pound, 4 ounces, 1-4. What a comeback you made today.
Yeah, I had a great day. I had a great tournament also. I caught 13, 14 keepers today.
Well, let's watch some of that in action out on Lake Hamilton. Tell us what you're doing, Wes.
I'm flipping a little brown homemade jig.
Homemade jig, you say? Something you make yourself?
Yes.
All right, describe it to us now.
It's just a little 5/16 ounce finesse jig. Nothing special. They sell them, you know, most of the tackle stores. I just make them, you know, save a little money.
And you've got a great finish here and a great tournament. Congratulations. So let's give him a good round of applause. Good job.
All right, we are now down to our final 4, and when we come back, we'll cut that number in half as we troll closer toward crowning a champion in the All-American on FLW Outdoors. right back out to our Kellogg's pro. Dave LeFebvre is our next challenger, and he needs to bring up 2 pounds 9 ounces with his 5th and final fish. The pressure is on, Dave.
Yamaha pro Dave LeFebvre. This fish weighs in at 2 pounds 10 ounces, the new leader, and that eliminates Mark Schaefer. Mark, step on up. Your toughest day today. We've got you with video out there. Let's check you at work on the water on Lake Hamilton.
Oh, my day went great. I mean, I missed one fish today. It was about a 2-pounder, which that cost me, but I think I lost this tournament because I had a dead fish the first day. It cost me 8 ounces, and now I'm down by 1 ounce. So it's, I fished my butt off. I did the best I could. I brought 3 limits into it, a day, just to make it here and be competing and be on the stage today. It's it's the most exciting time I've ever had in my life, and right now I'm just a little bummed.
But you can be a little bummed for not winning, but you got to be excited about your great performance all week long.
Oh yeah, I fished very well. I'm totally satisfied with my performance. I mean, to catch the limits every day. I lost one fish today that probably cost me a couple ounces, but that was the only fish I lost, all week. So, I'm totally satisfied just to be here. Maybe I can hold on to second place. I'm not going to be taking home the 100,000, but I guess I'm going to have to go back next year and win.
I guess that would be the job to do. Bring it back next year. Good job. Let's give him a great round of applause.
Okay, we're down to our final 3 anglers now. Dave LeFebvre is out in front, 30 pounds, 14 ounces is the mark to beat. Alan Hayes is coming up next. He has weighed in 4 fish. 1 fish remains, and it better be a good one because he trails by 2 pounds and 7 ounces. 2.7 is the mark that he needs to reach.
If he reaches 2.7, he'll take the lead and eliminate Dave LeFebvre. It's going to be close. It's 2 pounds, 7 ounces. This fish weighs in at 2 pounds, 9 ounces. A new leader by 2 ounces.
Okay.
And that eliminates Dave LeFebvre. Man, you knew it was going to be close there.
Yeah, it's weird to be even thinking I have a shot because I didn't catch that 5.5 I've been playing with for the last 2 days, and had another 3.5 I worked on for an hour today, and I just didn't think I had a prayer. So to be in this position is unbelievable to me. I had a really good time.
All right, let's watch you at work out there on Lake Hamilton. And again, you sight fish most of the week.
Yeah, I haven't been catching them in the morning very good sight fishing because I couldn't see. So I love to dock fish. It's one of my favorite things to do, and I haven't done it in practice. I hadn't done it in a tournament, and I figured I'd spend those first 2 unproductive hours doing that. And, I caught some little ones, but I ended up calling them all out with sight fish later.
That was fun, though, getting an early start and finally getting something in the boat give you a little confidence there.
Yeah, it was fun. These guys have been having a blast all week, and I didn't even know it. I caught probably 20 fish doing that this morning in 2 hours, but they're all little, so I just didn't. That's the biggest one I caught right there. It's about 1.25 pounds. And
all right, the 5-pounder you've been chasing all week long, did you see her at all today?
No, it left on me today, and we did a little interview on the water there, and you guys called right when I was leaving it, and no, I didn't see it today, and I was kind of bummed because I didn't spend much time on it. It wasn't going to be a 5-pounder to me yesterday. It would only have been worth 3 pounds, so I kind of didn't try as hard yesterday, and I thought I could catch it today, and it was gone, so I learned a big lesson.
Big lesson there. The 3.5-pounder that you were on today, you said you spent an hour on. Have any shots at her?
Yeah, it bit me one time when Carlton was asking me a question, and
probably his fault. Yeah.
Yeah, it was right when I first got there, about the 3rd pitch, and it went nose down, and I was telling you or him, I'm like, oh, it's a nose down on me, and it bit me, and I missed it, and that was the only time it bit today.
Either one of those 2 fish certainly would have made a difference, but I know that with your career, even though you may not make it back to the All-American because of your schedule, you're certainly going to be in the winner's circles many more times.
Yeah, I hope so. I've had a great time, and I'm really going to miss these BFLs, and maybe someday down the road when I'm older in years.
Like me?
I didn't say that, but someday maybe I'll get back in them things.
I hope he does. Dave LeFebvre from Erie, Pennsylvania. Let's give him a huge round of applause. A great role model for all of our young anglers.
And we were just helping him concentrate. That's what we were saying. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're down to our final 2 anglers. One of these 2, Alan Hayes or John DeVere, will win the All-American, and I can tell you that just 9 ounces separate these 2 finalists. $100,000 is coming one of their ways when we come back on FLW Outdoors. FLW Outdoors is brought to you by Lowry's, your secret to great flavor. By 7-Up, make 7-Up yours. By Schick Quattro, the power of 4. And by Welcome back to FLW Outdoors. We are down to our 2 finalists. Alan Hayes is our leader, and he's with Charlie Evans right now. Charlie?
Alan, I got to ask you the question that everybody wants to know. How you feeling about right now?
Speechless. Nervous.
Are you nervous?
I haven't been nervous all during the tournament, but now I'm nervous.
Getting nervous right now. All right, when you weren't nervous, you were out there on the water at work. Let's watch you here. Check the monitor.
Well, I throwed a spinnerbait yesterday and caught my fish, and this morning I started where I caught most of my fish yesterday, hoping to go ahead and get that limit out of the way by 9 o'clock like I did yesterday, but that just didn't happen. I caught one there. I had to leave. Actually, I tried to put together 2 different patterns. I tried to put together a shallow pattern and a deep pattern to where if the shallow bite didn't turn on, I could go to the deep pattern. So I basically switched from one to the other all day.
All right, so you weren't nervous at all while you're out there on the water. You're a little nervous now. I can understand why. It's kind of out of your control. You weighed in your 5 bass limit. There's no more fish left for you.
No more.
Johnny, on the other hand, has weighed in 4. You only lead by 9 ounces. I'm not sure we have any 9-ounce keepers here. If he's got one, you're in deep trouble.
Real big trouble.
All right, this has got to be pretty exciting, too. Not just nervous, but exciting.
It is. This is the first time I've ever made an event of this size. And, hey, I'm overjoyed to be here. And I appreciate all the people that's worked hard to put this on. The people of Hot Springs, thank you for having us. And glad to be here.
All right, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to sit here and talk for about 10 or 15 more minutes if you don't mind.
Oh, I do mind.
You do mind. You'd like to get this on.
I'd like to get it on.
One of these two is going to win. Let's go over to CARLTON Wing. He's with Johnny DeVere.
All right, Alan says let's get this show on the road. I'm with John DeVere. John, you trail by 9 ounces. You have fished, as your wife said just a moment ago, that you have fished for a long time. As we take a look at video of you out on the water, tell us how your experience helped you throughout this week.
I was just casting a jig around, there was some brush around those docks. I was just pitching that jig and just kind of working it around.
Did you find that you needed to change your tactics as the week progressed?
Yeah, the first day I had like 25 probably and just kept calling, but they were all level. So went up to these other creeks right in here, I guess right there where I'm at now, and all those fish were a lot better. So I'd call them all out every afternoon by, about dinner. So I decided I would go try those and get a better string of fish instead of the smaller ones, not be calling them out. But
John, you fished in 6 regionals before you finally qualified for the All-American. What's it feel to be here in the All-American?
Great. I tell you, it's hard to get here, though.
That's true, and 34,000 anglers entered BFL events. We're down to 2 now. Are you ready to find out who's the winner of the 2004 All-American? All right, ladies and gentlemen, Alan Hayes has weighed in all 5 of his fish. He is our leader by a mere 9 ounces over our final challenger. John DeVere, show us what's in your live well. That live well is empty. Alan Hayes is the champion of the 2004 All-American. This has got to be a thrill. You're an All-American champion. You're about to be $100,000 richer.
I can't believe it. Still, I can't believe it. I'm speechless. Normally I would have plenty to say, but now I don't.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll let one of the legends in bass fishing have something to say for you. Here's Mr. Forrest Wood with the $100,000 check.
Alan, the road to the All-American is the toughest road there is. I want to congratulate you and what job you've done getting here, and you did a wonderful thing. And it's my pleasure to present you this $100,000 check for the Bass Fishing League All-American Champion.
Let's take one final look at our leaderboard. $345,000 given away this week. $100,000 to our winner, Alan Hayes, in first place. Then it's Dave LeFebre in second place, $25,000. Then it's Mark Schaefer, John DeVere, and Wes Endicott, 1 through 5. Dennis Burhort, Charles Cummings, Donald Hinson, Miles Johnson, and David GNEWIKOW round out our top 10. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, you have seen the best in professional fishing right here on FLW Outdoors. Don't forget, next week, we will join you from our 5th stop on the Walmart FLW Tour. That's Kentucky Lake, when our FLW pros will help us preview this fascinating event. Thanks for watching this week, everybody, on FLW Outdoors.
That's the one I want. Come on, baby. Yeah.
How come all you cameramen always look out the corner of your eyes?
Come on, baby. Stay down. All I want you to do is keep.
Oh, God, this is the best fish I had yet.
That's 2.5 pound fish.
Yes, sir.
These fish are the fightingest fish, I believe. Yeah, that's a good one. I'll take him any day.
That's it. It's over.